Ready, Jason?
1 second.
Okay.
All right, we are good.
Okay. I call to order the Perry Township Board of Trustees work agenda on September 22nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. Ms. Pinkham, will you take roll?
Mears,
Yes.
Wynn,
Yes.
Hartshorn,
Yes.
Okay, and we are here for the purpose of our work session, and we have some things that we need to go over. So who would like to start?
Why don't we just go in order, go down the list?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is the town hall one mine?
I thought so.
Okay. What I guess basically what I was trying to say is just I thought maybe later on, as soon as this COVID was done and everything, that all of us could maybe, it would be nice to open up afterwards and have everybody come in and ask questions or anything. That was the only thing I had on it. So that's what I had.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I think I mentioned that probably in February. About having town halls through the township
Yes.
at different points, like quarterly,
Right.
because not everybody can make it to the meetings, and
Right.
it's something it's important because people need to know that their voice means something.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I'd be totally in favor of something like that, whether it's at the township or we pick a couple of key locations around the township.
Okay. Yeah.
Once everything lifts.
Yeah. Well, I noticed today, just like there was a lady who had an issue with her trash, not with Rumpke, but somebody dumped something in her trash can, and she was really upset. And just something like that, maybe just needs to get that off her chest. And I thought, stuff like that would be good. Or if someone wants to say, Joe Smo's doing a real good job down here, he's helped me, things like that. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Do you
Build
think,
community.
would we be able to either use the firehouse or maybe either Brookville or New Lebanon's high school, where we can spread people out 6 feet apart and everyone can wear masks, and we can do it before they clear us from COVID? Because I think we're going to be in this for the long haul.
I can contact Mr. Hopkins and find out about that, and I can contact New Lebanon if you'd like me to see how that works.
Yeah, I think either one.
Well, honestly, I would say both.
Okay.
Because doing one north and one south, I mean, let's not fool ourselves. We definitely have a division line through the middle of the township, and the people that live south of Amity don't really, I mean, they can come north, but they don't really tend to too much. And so if we can like target those two areas, I think that would be
okay.
Yeah, the auditoriums, we can just sit people every 6 seats apart or something.
Yeah.
I'll get with them and see what their protocol is, and then I will report back on that. And then my next thing was just communication. Again, I think that basically goes with the town hall, or just communication. Basically, if someone in the township has a concern or whatever, I'd like for them to reflect back on to the township, to Miss Kaler, so she knows what's going on, and then she can pass that along to all three of us. So that was basically what I was saying.
Yeah, and people can reach out on the Facebook. All trustees and the fiscal officer have access to respond to messages or notifications on Facebook.
Right.
And the website does have our email addresses as well.
Right.
And so, people just, it's a little bit of a PR campaign now that we have this web presence to let people know, hey, you can go out here and click, or you can just pick up the phone and call. Karen's there, Rhonda's there.
Right, and I think that goes along with the town hall also. I think we need to address, that we do have a Facebook page, we do have a website and things like that, just so we share it. So those were the only two things I had. Okay.
Was community engagement me? I don't remember.
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm still trying to find ways to get the community together. the groups, I've had a couple people that have shown interest in the committees that I want to start, but what else, what more can we do? I think somebody mentioned that there used to be a bunch of different programs. Like, I'd like to see maybe a Christmas decorating contest or secret Santas through different neighborhoods or something. I want to get people involved. Like, even at our meetings, Zoom, it's like the same 5 people all the time. I want to, what can we do to bring more people in?
You know, a couple months ago, I was going down Keener before they paved it, and I saw a neighborhood watch sign. And I went to the police website, and they have a neighborhood watch section. But I don't think since Chief Littleton's been here, there's been an engagement there. And
like, it's been longer than that. I think Bob.
Well, I know. I'm not looking too far back. I'm just looking back, you know, since the beginning of the year. And people seem to be interested in that, right?
Yes.
Which is purely, I mean, it's logical. Look at the crimes that are happening around not just Perry Township, but just around, you know, within 30 miles of where we are, you know.
Right.
So that might be a way to engage. And there was actually another thing that I saw today, that Washington Township, the township officials went to one of their cemeteries, and that they basically, you know, opened it up and did a headstone cleaning, where the staff of the township were down there and people could come and help clean headstones and whatnot. And I thought that was an interesting idea. You know, it doesn't take much money, just takes time and a little bit of planning, because obviously you can't have people too close to each other and whatnot. But, you know, doing it outdoors, you may get some participation, you may not. But it's a good way to engage one of the cornerstones of our township, which is our cemeteries.
Yeah, I like that idea. I've already spoken to Chief Littleton about a neighborhood watch.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it a little bit some time back in some of the ideas that I had that I'd like to see the police department doing. So maybe we can, you know, start looking into what it would take to make that happen.
Right.
And Mindy, I know years ago we used to have like the 4-H or the Boy Scouts or whoever, they would meet here, and then we would give them trash bags and they would clean up the roads and they got credit for a community service. So that might be something, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we could post something on Facebook saying, hey, are you interested in community service with your family or your organization? Contact Prairie Township and we'd be happy to help you coordinate something. I mean, that would be another thing that we could do, most definitely.
Right. It's outside for right now. It's outside in the distance and everything else. So I think we would be okay on that.
And see, honestly, the things that tend to gain the most synergy are the things that don't take a lot of money. It just takes, you know, engagement, time, and involvement. So I think those are all great ideas. Yeah.
Now, the last time we talked about a cleanup day, there was some concern about liability. Would that be an issue with the cemetery cleanups as well?
Well, so the cemetery cleanup is different from cleaning up the headstones. The cemetery cleanup, I mean, basically you can clean around the periphery of the cemetery, but don't remove anything from the graves. That's where Mike had said that was the big concern, is that people don't want anyone taking stuff off the graves, which I totally understand.
Right.
But if you go to Pleasant Hill, most days after a storm, you'll see stuff across the back and across the side that just got blown away.
Right. I do that at the on Air Hill.
So, you know, just being able to go out there and clean that kind of stuff up, I mean, that would be a great idea too. And that's great for Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or 4-H or, you know, whatever. That's something that people could do regardless of age or ability.
Right.
Okay.
My point.
Okay. Good job. Okay. And then I think, Mindy, you got fundraising t-shirt sales.
Well, I guess this is part of community engagement also. We never decided if we wanted to do a Perry Township t-shirt or a 200th anniversary t-shirt or anything like that. I would like to have a contest and invite residents to submit art that can be turned into a 200th anniversary shirt. I think that is some community engagement. If not, we can get shirts made like the one that I had made. That's just our logo. It's just kind of plain and boring. But I think, you know, I just feel like we're letting this anniversary go and we're missing out on something, mainly because of COVID.
Right.
But we can just let it go unnoticed.
Well, and you know, the big thing is when we first started talking about this, we didn't have the Facebook active yet. We didn't have the website up yet.
Right.
So having those two channels out there, you know, I think we could do something like that now, because there again, it doesn't require people getting together. This is something people can do on their own and they can submit in. We can just provide them an email address to send their submissions to, and, you know, give it till, you know, December 1st, right? Because then we turn around and say the shirts will be on sale. We'd have to coordinate that with screening them, getting them screened or printed or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think we could totally do that now. We have more channels of communication that are shareable, that people can, you know, it can spread by word of mouth. So that if you want to write something up and put it on the Facebook page, I think that'd be great.
Okay, I'll work on that while I'm here. It'll give me something to do.
Excellent.
Okay, and then I guess we got the township end of year inventory. Jason, I take it that's yours?
Yeah, this is going to be the least popular probably of the topics, but I don't know. I'll start out by saying I don't know what we've done as a township for annual inventories that we're required to do per ORC, but I know people were asking about it early this year, and because I didn't have an answer, it went in my notebook.
Okay.
So a little time has passed. There's been a lot of different things that we've all been working on, but we're getting close to the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have a conversation about what we've done in the past, what we're required to do, and what our plan is for this January. Because I believe I have the ORC here. I don't know if that shares or not. Did that change on the share?
Yeah.
Okay. That we're required to do on the second Monday of January each year. I don't know. Have we done this?
Yes, I think at the end of the year, each department head, they do their own inventory and then turn that in.
Okay.
And it goes to Rhonda.
Okay, but the township proper doesn't do one? So like for the office, or is that something that Rhonda does, or something that we do, we contribute to? Is, you know what I'm saying? Is, yeah. So if the police do it, the road crew does it, get that.
Right.
But we do have township buildings. We do have assets within the building. Just in the last year, we changed out the PCs, and we have old PCs and printers and stuff that we're looking to move out. But, you know, do we do it? Have we done an inventory of the township building as part of that annual inventory?
As far as I'm aware, in the 3 years that I've been here, and maybe Rhonda can answer that, I've always known that it's just been the police department and Mike. So, you know, if you're talking like, you know, we have 3 printers here and, you know, 2 PC units and that, you know, no, I don't think we've done that. But that's something that we can do.
Right. And that's my point, is just because I don't know if we've done this, this is something that we have plenty of time to plan for, and we can get it done.
Right.
And we commit that to our records, and we're good. It's just a lot of stuff. And I'll admit, you know, I've learned a lot in the first 9 months that I've been a trustee here, and I've got so much more to learn. I'm the first one to say it. I've gone through the cabinets out there out front, and I've read the old newsletters and the old welcome to Perry Township letters and all sorts of stuff that, you know, once upon a time Perry Township did.
Right.
And I'm not trying to do everything. You know, that's what's important is, but I'm also looking at what is it that we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
That we're maybe not doing as completely as we should. I'm
Right.
not saying that there's any malfeasance or anything else. I'm just saying, there's stuff in that building that probably should be inventoried annually.
Inventory, yeah.
From an insurance perspective, from a risk perspective, that's an old building.
Well, from a preservation perspective as well, because we don't even
Right.
know what books are. Some of those books that are up there in the main office really need some attention because they're starting to disintegrate.
They do. And honestly, I mean, I don't think this is a deviation, but that's something that I thought about getting with like the Brookville Historical Society about, and seeing if there's something that we can do to make sure that those books
Are preserved.
I was going to say persist, but preserve's a better word.
Yeah.
Because some of them are probably past. You turn a page and you hear the seam turn to dust a little bit.
Yeah.
They're old records. So, but that's another part of the annual inventory, is making sure that we are aware of what we have, which is deteriorating, and we can take actions to preserve it or to make other plans for it, whether it's
Right.
digitizing it, scanning it in, hand jamming it into a Word document or a spreadsheet, something to preserve the data, even if we can't preserve the integrity of the document that it's on. I'm not trying to digitize everything. I'm just saying I know that there's a lot of stuff within the township that is in need of some help, whether it's preserving it by hand or trying to preserve it by other means. So,
And I know, I think there's more books with information regarding the township over at the maintenance office, or the maintenance.
Right. And I'm going to be reaching out to Mr. Kraft to get keys to that.
Okay.
Just the way the township's done business, it's never been something that the fiscal officer or the trustees have had keys to, from my understanding.
Right.
So I'm going to have a conversation with Mr. Kraft and see if we can get copies of those keys made so that we can assess the stuff that we're responsible for.
Right.
That's
right.
basically it. Nobody's looking to go poking around and digging around in the files. We have a responsibility to the township to make sure that stuff that can be preserved is, and the stuff that needs to be held on to is held on to, and anything that doesn't need to be held on to falls into our file destruction process, which that's another thing we have to look at and see how we dispose of things that are no longer required.
Right, because like out here with the stuff underneath the desk out here, whatever that is out there underneath that desk, but that stuff needs to go, or we can put it on GovDeal or whatever you do with that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and another thing too is that part of the annual inventory can really be eye-opening as to how much stuff we're printing, how much stuff we're putting in binders, how much stuff we're keeping here, there, and everywhere. Because honestly, I know a lot of townships that I've talked with have found a way to save a lot of money by cutting back on how much stuff they print.
Right.
They've redirected funds from buying paper and ink toner into having an overhead projector that they use at their township meetings so that everybody can see the stuff. They don't have to print out 30 copies of everything.
Right.
When you start looking at stuff like that, where you could be more efficient. Now you can still print off copies if someone needs it. If there's a, not everybody can see very well. Some people prefer a piece of paper. I get that, but not having to do all the copies across the board would be an efficiency, and it would save the township money. So there may be some stuff going into, that we could find during the annual inventory that we could just start saying, why are we printing so much of this?
Right. I agree.
And tighten the belt a little bit on the budget and help the township out, because that's, I know we do print a lot of stuff. So.
Right. Yep.
Do we have any idea what's currently in Perry B? Is that being used?
I know that Mr. Kraft has put some things over there. I don't know. And there's also items down at Eversole.
Okay, because I was thinking that maybe we could use one of those buildings for storage Perry B being historical in itself, that maybe we could use set up shelves or a display or something like that inside that people could
I know
visit.
Perry does have some filing cabinets, and don't quote me, but they may have some shelves that came out of the police department when they changed things around back there. I think that's
Okay.
where they stored them.
There
Or-
were some Perry B that were left from the tornado that I don't know if those ever got cleaned out or not. But maybe that's an option, as we could turn that into like a mini museum-ish type thing for preservation of some of the records.
Yeah, the only thing to consider is you have to consider that it's an old building.
Yes.
And humidity gets in there, and humidity doesn't do well with older things.
Right.
If you seal them in a shadow box or something like the boards that we have at the township, most definitely. I mean, there's something we could do there.
Yeah, exactly. They'd have to be sealed in something.
Right. And like in Brookville, they have the little green depot down there by Jefferson and Market. They open that once a month. There would be nothing wrong with opening Perry B at some point once a month, once a quarter, as long as it's publicized and letting people come down and see Perry Township. This could actually be, something that would be the fruit of the annual inventory, because instead of having to decide what to do with some stuff we could look at and just say, you know what, this really would do well there, right, where people can start to kind of see the history of Perry Township.
Right. And just
I would like to see it.
You got to remember, I'm sorry, Mindy, I didn't mean to cut you off. You got to remember with the mice and stuff, they will eat paper. So
yeah,
we'd have to look into what it would take to seal the windows or the building, or seal the documents in cases, encase them or something. Mm-hmm. But I would be interested in trying to find out if we could make that.
And I'll tell you, I know that there are historical grants for stuff like that to help preserve history of municipalities. So, that's something else that we could look at as well, because, as soon as we start talking about preserving stuff, the first thing people say are, where are you going to get the money?
Right.
So looking into grants is going to be a smart way to probably go about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, and then our next one is the township expansion. Jason, that's yours also?
Yes. So we can get as geeky as you want to get. I'll leave the option to you. Just kidding. So I talked with Sergeant Hessler about the network configuration of the township building. And basically, there's a single Wi-Fi unit which hosts the police networks, their physical networks, their Wi-Fi, and then a guest network. And everybody who's not police is on the guest network. Creates a little bit of a problem from a security perspective. And they are also limited in the amount of available ports that they have to support their devices. So for the Wi-Fi, it's less of a problem, but I think they've only got like 3 or 4 open ports right now for Ethernet cables. So when I was talking with Sergeant Hessler, we kind of kicked around an idea of putting the township offices on their own Wi-Fi router. Basically, what we would do is we would Rhonda's PC, Karen's PC, and there might be another one. I think the third drop was the one from the front desk there. Yeah.
What about the copier?
The copier actually is connected to the police network, and that's another thing I'm going to get to. Okay, so basically, what we were talking about doing was getting a Wi-Fi router for the office that has at least 4 network ports plus an interconnect port. Connect it via the interconnect port to the police switch, and then host our network off of that. Then they would open the path to the printer from anyone from our network. From our Wi-Fi, we would have basically like a Perry office, Perry Township Wi-Fi that would be protected. And then we would have a Perry Township guest Wi-Fi, which would be somewhat restricted. You don't want people coming and watching Netflix in the parking lot all night, but people would be able to use it when they're at the offices and whatnot, but not for any length of time. So after talking with Sergeant Hessler, we thought this was a good idea. I want to talk to the other trustees about it and the fiscal officer. Does cost a little bit of money. I went out and priced one, just went to Best Buy. They had the best price out of the 5 places I looked. And with a 4-year warranty on top of the product warranty, it came to $229 for this router. So I wanted to discuss this, answer any questions. We are pushing capacity, like a physical capacity limit with what we currently have, and this would free up some ports for the police to use and keep us kind of segregated so that there's no issues with unnecessary access to the police network. Also, what really drove this was I was up in the township about 3 months ago responding to a information request. And I brought my laptop, I brought my power cable, and I couldn't print from the printer. And when I started talking with Sergeant Hessler, the printer is actually on the internal network. So you can't get to it from the Wi-Fi. You have to be on a cable network. And I believe they allowed, Rhonda and Karen's PCs access to that printer, but anyone connecting on Wi-Fi couldn't. And we didn't have just a cable drop sitting there that someone could come in and plug in a laptop to be able to access that. So from just a full service perspective, as well as securing the township's network, giving the police more capability that they've already paid for, honestly, and giving us our own managed piece of that network will, keep our stuff separate from there, so there's no conflict or possible issues with network degradation from the township office's usage.
And I would assume that it's more busier during the day than it is in the evening with more officers in.
It is, and honestly, that, like I said, the Wi-Fi that they're using isn't such a concern because they've actually created what they call a subnet, and they're using the guest Wi-Fi for that subnet. So basically, like when we go to the township building and I connect to the Wi-Fi to do a Zoom for a special meeting, I'm connecting to the guest Wi-Fi there on the police Wi-Fi router. This is just something to, clean up some stuff in the networking cabinet that they have, and to give us the capability that moving forward allows for them to grow as they need to, and gives us more than enough of what we need.
Right.
So not asking for anything other than consideration. Like I said, I do have, if you're into more of the technical details of this device, I will say that ASUS is one of the most preferred from a security perspective. I actually use one at home now. And it does have a lot of different capabilities. So nothing fancy. It's got 4 Ethernet ports, 1 interconnect port to connect to the switch. It does support Wi-Fi 6, which is an up-and-coming protocol, which means we won't need to replace it within the next 5 years, which is always a plus. You don't want to buy something when the technology is changing and you can't support it. So
are you talking about one router, Jason? Like, will one be enough for the building, or are we going to then have to put like a booster in the meeting room or something with it?
I think we'll be fine. Having a centrally located Wi-Fi router, currently they have one Wi-Fi router, and it hits everywhere from the meeting room all the way back to the parking lot. So I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that'll be a concern, but this should more than cover the square footage of the township building and the surrounding area.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
So I will, for this, I'll add this to the October Board of Trustees meeting
Okay,
to finalize the conversation, and we'll take it from there.
okay, sounds good.
I think we need to make sure it's in our budget as
That's
well.
the other thing is, I will say that because we're not using because we're ending the AOL email billing, the $30 a month that we've been paying to AOL at the end of this month, we will be offsetting a number of things in the budget. So that's what, $360 a year that we previously didn't have available, that would cover basically like this router, as well as a year of the website hosting.
I was going to say, how much is our web hosting costing us?
For 2 years, I think it was $168. And that's with unlimited email accounts and
Right.
support backups and everything else. So, you know, the limitation to the website was that it's only 2 pages right now. But I'm getting extra functionality without any pages. So, so this would be a way to do something that would, you know, be able to leverage some of those offset funds and get us some more capability. And honestly, you know, a trustee, as trustees, we don't have PCs. We don't have laptops that we get from the township, like let's say Washington or Miami Township does, right? So being able to bring in our own device to do work that we need to do and be able to use the printer in the office is a huge need.
Well, I only have a desktop. I don't even have a laptop. So that's a whole different.
I just like the fact that we can offset it with the AOL. I think that's great. That's, you know,
yeah, and I mean it's not an answer to everything, but right now the little pieces that we're looking to do, I think it fits.
Yeah, you're putting the puzzles back together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep.
I think if we do that, we might want to consider replacing. I know we said we didn't need it, but we might want to consider putting a PC back up in the office for our use as well.
So when we got rid of that PC, that was actually something that we deferred. We didn't say that we weren't going to replace it. We said that we will revisit it at a later time, because the goal was to get the new PC for Kate.
Right.
And then
which we did.
Right. And then there was another one too. Didn't the police get one too? So there was 2, I think, that we got.
I think so.
The third one was going to be the front one, and we were just going to wait a little bit on that. So that definitely makes sense too. I mean, if, you know, it'd be nice to have the ability to bring in a scanned hard drive from home and just connect it to a PC there and then be able to print stuff off. That would be huge too. I mean, trust me,
Right.
I don't like carrying my big backpack everywhere, regardless of what people think.
No, and there's been times I've been in here in Karensville on her computer, and I wanted to get on to try to help her do something, and I can't because I don't have a computer. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's something else we need to look into.
Yeah. And I'll take a note. That's something that we can definitely discuss in the next working session.
Okay, sounds good. I'll make a notation for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll be checking with both the schools. Mindy, you're gonna check, what are you checking on?
T-shirts.
T-shirts. Or T-shirts and the artwork, right?
Right. I'm gonna draft up something for a T-shirt contest for residents to submit their idea, you know, their artwork.
Right. And then we'll start trying maybe to work on this inventory for the building. And then I'll see what's at Perry B and Eversole and see what's in there.
Okay. I also have a key to Perry B if you want me to look at it when I get home from here.
Okay.
I can try to go next weekend, or we can meet up there even, and both of us, or whatever
Okay.
makes it easier.
Okay. And then Jason, we'll put that on the October meeting for the network expansion.
Sounds good.
Put that on the agenda. Okay, is there anything else, guys?
Not on the agenda.
Okay, well, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second,
Mears,
Yes.
Wynn,
yes.
Hartshorn.
Yes.
Okay, we good? Going back to
Okay.
my baby.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
Thank you.